At what age is it good to start pack walks? So that's a good question. I don't think necessarily it relies on age, because at Puppy Academy, we actually do a lot of different pack walks. We tend to first introduce different training tools, teach them how to walk inside, teach them how to walk outside, solo. And maybe that means doing lots of turns, getting them to follow food. And then eventually, when we feel they're super confident with that and we're doing good, dog's doing good, and there's no frustration on the walks, that's when we'll start adding a second dog to the mix. However, most of our trainers don't walk two dogs right away. We do two separate people doing the walk, one dog on the right, another dog on the right, but on the other side of the human. So they're not walking right next to each other. Otherwise, you can get competition. They'll battle to be in front. Sometimes we even do one dog in front with the human, one dog in back with the human, and you can build up consistency through that. It means that you're still using a lot of food, you're getting all of your sits, and you make it a training walk. You're not just walking freestyle, you want them to look to you for all those different commands. So that's my first step. And if I start getting really consistent walks, maybe I'll add a dog to both sides. And then let me think of what Bethany would say. Bethany would give you the ins and outs of why we do that. So why do we not put dogs on the same side or with the same walker? Because it's hard to focus on both dogs at the same time. And when you're focusing on both dogs, one dog tends to kind of fall to the wayside. So we teach people how to walk with one dog on one side of them with another walker, so you can both focus on the dog that you have and then work on those skills. Basic skills like doing turns, doing stops, doing sits, and a lot of time you'll use like a training tool if you want to get more consistency with those walks and have a dog focus on you more than anything. Yeah, I feel like that's what Bethany would say. Okay. I'm telling you guys, I'm going to try to give you both ends.
TikTok wants to know what types of dogs that we have here.
That we have here, oh man, we got everything. We get waves though. So I would say right now our big wave is, well, we always have doodles. We always have at least 10 to 15 doodles. We have 3 or 4 huskies. We have every kind of dog. We got Danes, we have huskies, we have shepherds. We have 3 or 4 shepherds as well. But I mean, we'll get waves of 5 or 6 Frenchies. We'll get 4 or 5 huskies. We'll get 10 or 20 doodles all at once. It really just comes in waves. So yeah, we got every kind of dog. I saw another one for Instagram. Did we get that one? I don't know how to pull it up on my phone like Bethany does, so you have to read them to me.
I don't see it. Just saying hi. People saying hi.
Okay, maybe it's just
so
a
far
pop-up.
we're good, maybe.
Oh, and I see someone that wants to go live
Yep.
on TikTok.
No.
No? Okay.
No, they're just
All right.
inviting us to have someone else go live.
It feels weird to not have Bethany to like make fun of and have her make fun of me. It's kind
I'll
of our
try to
jam.
step in whatever I can from
Thanks,
behind
Ricky.
the scenes.
And then next we have Into Zoe. My puppy can't stop barking. He bites and doesn't really listen to us. He is 9 months old. What should I do? So boundaries, that's a big thing. 9 months old, sorry to say you no longer have a puppy. You have an adolescent dog, so that means that he's hitting teenagerhood. It's like having a 17, 18-year-old that's trying to make decisions on their own. So a dog that's older, you can be a little bit more firm with. Anyone that has a 3-month-old puppy, they're gonna set more boundaries in the house, create like leash boundaries, use playpens, have the dog follow them around, use a lot of food redirection. But an older dog, you gotta be a little bit more firm. So 9 months old, that is what I would consider to be a bit older. So barking and biting. The barking, I would put them on a leash, either on harness or flat collar, and guide them around the house. So you're teaching them a follower role rather than a leadership role. A leadership role means that they're the ones alerting you that someone's there and that they need to bark to tell you that. When we have a follower role, they look to you for that. So maybe you get a bark, we guide them away from the doors, say no, come, heel, move them away, and they start looking to you for that next command. Instead of alerting you and consistently barking for 5 minutes straight, they ask you, what am I supposed to do? So that's my first one. For the nipping, that one's a little bit different. I'm gonna give you 2 sides. I'm gonna give you a 3 to 5 month old dog, which is young puppy, and then also a 9 month old dog, and then 9 months or larger. Or 9 months or older. So 3 to 5 month dog, I'm gonna use leash pressure, and I'm gonna give guidance. Another thing I do is if I'm always petting my dog, I'm gonna cut back on some of that petting. Because not all dogs wanna be pet all the time. Problem is that you have a cute little puppy, and people automatically assume cute little puppies wanna be pet. So pull back on the petting, do a little bit more command work. Come, sit, down, stay. Bethany's favorite is the relationship building exercise. So we take food, a handful of it, even one of the whole meals, and we'll guide them through a series of commands. Dog come, good treat. Dog come, good treat for a handful of food. And then dog sit, good treat. And then release them over and over and over again. You build up consistency that way. You take all of that bad energy that's going into the biting and you put it into a different channel. And what do I mean by that? Think of your puppy as like an atom. This atom is constantly moving, constantly just energy reincarnate. But if it has no channels, it explodes. When it explodes, that's when you get jumping, nipping, biting, pulling, lunging to go say hi to people on the walks. So we take that energy and we use it a little bit differently. We teach it, instead of biting, we teach it, come sit down. Oh, last guys. Come sit down. Good. Come sit down. Good. So instead of it defaulting to the bite, instead the dog starts defaulting to giving you commands. They think about jumping and nipping at your clothes. They instead sit there and look to you for the next command. So we take bad energy and turn it into good energy, because all it is energy that goes into the wrong channel. We give it a channel, it becomes good energy. 9-month-old dog, that's an adult dog. You can be a little bit more firm with an adult dog. And I'm not sure how hard Bethany would push this one, but I'm gonna give you in the middle. So adult dog, we can start saying no. We can start using more spatial pressure, be a little bit more firm with them. They jump up and nip at the hands. No, step in, sit, good. Calm our energy down, let them relax a little bit, and then reward with a treat. So we have big energy, calm energy. I always tell people play on two different spectrums. When I have a dog that's crazy and jumping and being crazy, I'm like, hey, settle down. Good. And I give the big stern into the calm, good. Because your dog will feed off your energy. Anything you put in, multiply that by 10. And that's what your dog's gonna give you. So if I'm more stern when they're crazy, they come down to my level and they tend to match my energy. If they don't do that, that's what your leash is for. You can give a little bit of guidance. You can maybe work them around your living room. If you're getting that outside and it's like the frustrated bark at the leash, I can grab a little handful of food, pull the leash out of the mouth, redirect to the sit, ask for a couple guidance heels, like using the food to the nose, having them follow the lure, get them to work through that frustrated period. Maybe it's a dog they don't get to go say hi to, and that's why they're being frustrated. Work them through it, and then guide them past it. Okay, take a breath. All right, that was good. Oh, what's this?
They want to go live on TikTok.
We have Instagram Live, or TikTok Live. Let's do it. I'm excited.
Wanna try?
Yeah, we haven't done it before, so
Okay,
we're
we
gonna
don't
do
know
it.
what we're gonna get, so.
So bring that by the phone.
Oh, they went away.
Oh, come on, guys, bring it back. Bring it back.
You got real excited about that.
I did get excited. I thought it was kind of fun.
But
Well, if it
TikTok,
pops
they're
back up, we'll
asking, do you have a cavapoo that you take care of?
I do not have a cavapoo that I take care of. I have a Czech Wolf Russian Hound and a Pitty.
We have cavapoos at school.
Oh, at Puppy Academy, yeah. We do have them at Puppy Academy. We have, I think we have 2 of them.
I think we have 2, yeah.
Yeah, and we've had quite a few of them over the past. Cavapoos, any kind of Cava anything, tends to be a pretty darn good dog. Cavalier King Charles tend to be some of the best family dogs ever. They got great energy, they're confident, and anytime they're in a household setting, they tend to know how to be pretty darn relaxed as they get a little bit older and get through that puppy stage. But yeah, amazing dogs. We love our Cava anythings. Anything else on that one?
Oh, I have one.
Yeah, we like Cavas. Okay, final question. And guys, I talk fast and I don't have Bethany to regulate me, so I'm running out of questions.
It's
so
okay.
if you guys have
I've
some
got
questions, let me
some
know.
stacked for you.
Okay, perfect. I'm also heavily caffeinated right now, so that's where we get the energy. All right, Sunflower, I have a question. How can I get my 1-year-old Jack Russell to walk beside me instead of pulling? So 1-year-old, so we're out of the puppy territory, which means that I tend to use different training tools. And you can go on Google and you can research different ones to find. I mean, a lot of people like the harnesses, some people like the neck training collars. And anytime we use something like that, we teach them to follow instead of lead. How do we do that? We never let them get to where they try to pull to. So we have a good principle. We have, if a dog pulls, do something about it. I know, so advanced, right? Meaning that when they pull towards a squirrel or a dog or a bush or a smell, I stop. I let them realize I've stopped. They can't pull towards it anymore. When I get even a small acknowledgement that I've stopped, I turn in the opposite direction and I move in the opposite direction. When they begin following, I reach down, reward with a treat, and that's for some of our younger pups. For the older pups, I just keep on moving. And enough times that we do that, we wear down that big energy until eventually they want to follow us. Very motivated dogs, you got to use training tools, and anytime I tell someone to use a training tool, I usually say hire a private trainer or go to like a class at a local pet store or something like that, just so you can properly use a training tool without doing any like mental damage to your pup. You want to make sure that we introduce something positively so they're happy to work on it. We don't want to walk to be negative, so we got to build them up in the proper way. All right. I'm out of questions.
I got
Ricky,
some.
what's your questions?
So, if someone has a new puppy and they're deciding between potty training them, they have to go inside right now. Would you
Okay.
recommend them using pee pads or like a fake grass turf?
That's a good question. Okay, so I think it really depends on situational. My ideal situation is maybe they have like a little patio, or they even have a stoop or something outside their front door, and I would say you want to use a potty patch. I get them used to going in the area that they're going to go for a majority of their life, and I'm hoping they heard your question. I think you said it loud enough, but Ricky asked the question of, if I got a new puppy and I'm potty training, do I want them to go on a potty pad inside or a potty patch, which is like the synthetic turf, outside?
I was actually thinking like the real grass turfs. You know, those like the
Oh,
ones?
I'm gonna say synthetic grass just because I know a lot of places don't actually get the real turf delivered yet. You'd have to go pick up sod. There's certain companies that will actually deliver real sod, like real grass, to your front door. They put it in like a little metal tin, and the puppies get used to going on it. If you have access to that, that's amazing. Those are always gonna be better than doing the synthetic grass because that gets them used to going on real grass as they get older. But yeah, I would say if you could do it synthetic or even the actual turf, get them used to that. It's a really strong principle teaching your puppy that you're the one that physically takes them to an area to go potty. So if that needs to be a potty pad inside, put it in like a little fenced off area, big enough to just fit the potty pad, put your puppy on it, and give them an opportunity to go potty. But how do we build a dog up to that? We use a structure schedule, meaning that we crate for hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on the age of your puppy, get them used to holding it inside of the crate, and right when they come out of the crate, we put them on the potty pad or take them outside and go on the potty patch with the leash, so they still get used to having some boundaries on that leash. It's not just run outside and go crazy, it's being controlled in this one area. Eventually you go potty, and then when they go potty, we bring them inside and give them a little bit of free time. But what if a puppy doesn't go potty? How do we deal with that? Do we take them inside and let them just roam around the house and possibly have an accident? Take them back inside, put them back in their crate or their playpen area, depending on what you guys are using, and then they hang out for another 10 to 15 minutes. If I have a puppy carrying on, barking, whining, crying, I'll pick them back up, take them back to their area, give them another chance to go potty. If they don't go potty for a second time, then in my head I'm setting a little 5-10 minute timer, and I'm gonna make them wait till the end of that timer. When I do eventually take them out, you do this cycle over and over and over again. Eventually they learn, go potty when mom and dad says to go potty, not just when they want to go potty. Because with most people, they want to be able to leave their dog for a few hours, go to dinner, go to lunch, have a breakfast with a friend, and their puppy is not going to have an accident inside of the house. Puppies don't know. Okay, I know, I'm about to blow some people's minds. Most puppies don't automatically know when they have to go potty, and they won't alert you to go potty. You have to give them a schedule that they follow to go potty. So when you take them out and you start building up the amount of time that they can hold it, that's when they start taking their cues from you. Mom took me outside to go potty, that's when I go potty. Eventually when I make it happen, that's when I get my free time. You make a connection to that, so they look to you for more things. This isn't just about potty, this is about leadership. You want them to look to you for a lot of things. Meals, water, going potty outside. You control all those different aspects of their life, and they start looking to you as a leader that gives them certain privileges that can be earned. Okay, that's a good one.
Good one.
All right, I see some
All right,
questions.
Instagram question. What about biting? My puppy started out nibbling, and now I feel she's getting aggressive, and she is a lab.
Oh, and she's a lab. So was there an age in there?
There is not.
So I don't see an age, but I'm gonna go with the assumption of like maybe 3 to 5 months old. Labs that get a little bit nippy, that means they're starting to push a boundary. They don't know whether they're supposed to be nipping, because if they're in a pack mate situation, do you see an age there?
Not
No?
yet.
Okay,
Let's
let
see
me
if
know
she
if you
has
see an
one
age.
yet.
It does help us tremendously, guys, that if you throw an age in there,
3 months.
perfect, 3 to 5 months. That was my scenario too. So a 3-month-old lab, she's starting to push her boundary. With her pack mates and her litter mates, she'd be doing the biting all over them all day long. That's how they communicate. Biting is just another form of communication for a pup. So when they do it to you, they're trying to ask you for something. Hey, let's initiate play. Hey, I want to eat. Let's go outside and go potty. When I get that type of engagement though, I usually give a firm no. I'll step into them, create a little bit of spatial pressure, and then I redirect their focus away from it. I have something I call my 3-strike rule. 3-strike rule is strike 1 is a firm no. I grab a toy. Today it's going to be my mask. I grab a toy, I put it in the mouth, let them tug on a little bit, redirect them, let them kind of go off on their own, wait them out, and then move away. Strike 2 means they're a little bit more persistent. They've come back for another round. They're still nipping at the clothes, nipping at your hands. Your hands feel a little bit better than the toy you just gave them. A firm no, and then we step in. So if this is me and this is them, I walk towards them, no, they back away, and we stand there, calm. Arms up tall like a tree. We don't want to give them anything to jump and nip at, so we keep ourselves firm, tall, tree, calm. Eventually they back off and sit, or maybe they go off on their own. They say, all right, it's not worth it. Strike 3. Now you've got a persistent dog. You've also got a dog that's a little bit more frustrated because they've gotten a couple no's, and what happens in return? We get frustrated. So now when I get that moment of frustration, I say, all right, you have too much of something and I can't help you with it. I know you're gonna have to go in your crate, but how I do it is very important. Because guys, remember, and I know you're all asking yourself this, I thought crate was never supposed to be a punishment. And you're absolutely right, it's not. Whenever you put a dog in the crate, you need to be the epitome of calm. No bad dog, no bite, go in your house, it's very calm. So I'm neutral. Deep breath, put a leash on the collar, guide them to their crate, assist them into the crate if they're getting frustrated and they need it, close it, lock it, cover it, deep breath, walk away. All you're saying is, you have something that I can't help you with. I've tried, but now we need a little time out in the crate. How you interpret that, how they interpret it, is going to be very differently. We're saying, well, it seems like a punishment, but all they're saying is, I ended up in the crate. I wonder what happened. They relax, they settle, 20, 30 minutes, I bring them back out, and I give round 2 of free time. When they're calm, they're going to be out. If they have too much energy and we can't help them with it, they've got to go in the crate. Any other questions? Follow-ups? No?
Not yet from Instagram, no.
All right, what about from TikTok? I see something.
Yes, actually this is a good point to go off of. This girl says, my puppy almost died yesterday because I gave him a bunch of raisins.
Oh yeah, raisins.
So
Grapes are incredibly poisonous to dogs. What was the last part?
It was kind of awkward. Well, it could have been a lot worse than.
It really could have been a lot worse. Actually, I got a funny story about that too. When I used to live with my parents, my dad actually gave my dog 4 or 5 grapes, and I came home and I see him feeding them to her like they were treats, and I asked him what was going on. He goes, oh, she really likes them, they're sweet. So long story short is, a couple $1,000s later and a big pumped stomach, we learned that we can't give anything like that. But what I did is I printed up this huge 3-page list, I taped it all together, and I hung it up on our refrigerator. And it pretty much had every household food that you would eat as a human, and it said what it did to different dogs. So I made a reference point off of that. So whenever my dad thought about giving anything to my dog, he would have to go look at that paper first. And lo and behold, avocado pit, fruits, different ones have high sugar counts, so it could do like it could mess with their glycemic index and all that. Being able to reference that paper gave us a really strong jumping off point of teaching my parents exactly what they could and couldn't give to my dog. So that's my suggestion. I mean, you could just say don't give any human food, that's the easier solution, but a lot of people want to be able to give something. A second point is never give it to them in the kitchen. Never give it to them off the counter. We don't want to teach a dog how to beg, so we take that food, if we do want to give it to them, make sure it's unseasoned. Anything that tastes good to us probably isn't so hot for a puppy. So make sure there's no salt, there's no pepper, there's no cumin, there's nothing like that. Just a plain cut of meat or a plain vegetable, whatever it is. Take it out of the kitchen and then ask them to do something. Ask for a sit, ask for a down, ask for a come. Any kind of command that helps them work for you, and then you reward them with the item. What else we got?
I like that. That's a good point about not feeding in the kitchen. It can help a lot.
It's a big one because you have dogs that want to run up to the table, they want to cross that boundary. Any dog that wants to cross that boundary into the human table, they've already probably developed a little bit of that begging routine. How do we counteract that begging routine? We start crating during meal times. We limit their access to it. Crate is the easiest way, guys. Put them in the crate 20 minutes before you eat, take them out 20 minutes after you eat. You're breaking that association to them wanting to be a part of that mealtime. What we did with our dog was anytime a pan even hit the stove, before that happened, I would put them in the crate. And as she got used to that, she started hearing the sound of the pan hitting the stovetop. She started putting herself in the crate. Granted, it took 2 years to get that and a lot of reinforcement, but eventually she started doing it on her own. And even when she got a little bit older, maybe we didn't use the we pulled away from it, she would naturally go to her dog bed, which kind of took the place of her crate. And I'm not saying everyone has to do that. We still recommend the crate for any dogs that are 3, 4, 5 months old, all the way till they're about 2 or 3 years old, just so we build up consistency around that. But eventually, you can pull back on it, and you can start using a dog bed in its place.
All right, Sparky, next question. What do you recommend for owners who are okay with their puppy jumping up on them, but would prefer their puppy not to jump up on other people?
Oh, you got me with the zinger. All right, you can't have both ways. Puppies don't generalize. So they don't say, I can jump up on mom and dad, but not other people. If they jump up on anyone and they're allowed to do it, they're gonna start jumping up on everyone and assume they're allowed to do it. Older dogs, it might be a little bit different. You can condition them because they're more mentally mature and they're able to generalize a little bit better. But a young puppy, it's one or the other. Either you got a little cute floofy dog, a little foo-foo guy, maybe a little poodle or a doodle or something, and you're allowing them to jump up on everyone, or you're preventing them from doing it on anyone. How do we do that? Leash, food guidance, firm no, and stepping between that person to like a guest coming in the house. You have a lot of different ways of doing it, but you can't have both ways, at least not in the beginning. Good question, Ricky. I like that one. She's going through all of what people write in our report cards.
I'm going through all the most common questions we get.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sparky, is it okay to let your dog eat in the crate and like leave their food in the crate when I leave the house?
Good question. So anytime we put food in the crate, we want to make sure we give them a time frame before we pull the food out of the crate. Oh, got a little shaky camera. What I mean by that is, I know it's mealtime. It's 6 o'clock. That's always when I feed my dog. First thing I do, put them in the crate, close the door, lock it. I walk away. I grab that food bowl. It's good to have them in the crate before you prep the food. It lowers that anticipation of getting the food. They're already in a calm state. By the time you bring the food, I open the crate door. I make them wait a couple seconds. Impulse control is huge. This can even be done outside of the crate. Asking the dog for a sit and slowly lowering the bowl. The crate makes it easier because that door provides you a boundary. And when you eventually open that door, release them to eat the food, close the door. I set a timer, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or I hear that bowl shooting around the crate. They're chasing around and it's already been empty for a couple minutes. I take that bowl out of the crate. Why do we do this, guys? We're bringing in Bethany now. Bethany, why do we do this? Bethany would tell you that anytime a bowl goes in the crate, we want that bowl to hold value. The more value a bowl has, the more a dog wants to eat and take food from you. So by taking that bowl out after 5 minutes, you're telling the dog that they have a limited amount of time to eat that food. If they have the bowl all the time, then that bowl loses value. They see it and they say, oh, it'll be here in 20 minutes. I can come back to it later on. But when I take that bowl out, maybe it's got a few bites still left in it, they say, whoa, I was still hungry, I was gonna eat that. And the next time they have the bowl, they're gonna be more likely to finish the entire bowl of food. Let's say you have a dog that's really picky. We get them all the time. The only breed this won't work on is Huskies because they're smart. So smart. Very stubborn too. But most dogs, I give a bowl of food. I give them 5 minutes to eat it. Whatever's remaining, they don't eat. I take that out and I bag it up and I put it in the refrigerator. Granted, every night I'll throw whatever's still in the refrigerator away. I don't want to save it overnight. But whatever's left, I sub into the next meal. So let's say my dog gets a full cup of kibble per meal. I'll take the half cup remaining in the bowl and I'll sub it in for another half cup of the food for the lunch or for the dinner. And eventually my dog's gonna start realizing, wow, I'm getting really hungry and I'm not eating my food, which by the end of the first day, maybe the beginning of the second day, the appetite's a lot greater and they eat everything you put in front of them. So the value of the food that you give grows stronger because you're eliminating that bowl when they don't eat all of it. So that was a really long explanation to say, take the food away from them. 5 minutes max. Take the bowl away, give it to them for the next meal. Or hold it back for 5-10 minutes, give them another opportunity to eat it 10-20 minutes later. You guys can play around with that. Some dogs are just waiting you out.
We have a follow-up question to that. Do you still remove the bowl if your dog eats at warp speed?
If my dog eats at warp speed, I do remove the bowl, but I have a couple options for you guys. You can do slow feeders that will kind of slow them down a bit. They have like little mazes in the bowl and they'll basically chase the kibble around. You could put some water in the bowl, not a lot, just enough to make it so they got to chase it through the water. It also helps hydrate them too if they're not big drinkers. So yeah, there's a couple different options, but yes, I would still take that bowl away because I mean, we don't want them chasing around the bowl, and also we still want that value, not so much for the food, but of you giving it to them. If they're fast eaters, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is that they see you hand the bowl and they see you take the bowl away. Again, what we mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if you're tuned in for that part, is leadership is huge. There's a lot of different ways to establish leadership with the dog. One of the greatest ways is making them wait for that bowl, setting it down, making them wait a couple more seconds, and releasing them, and then being the one to take that bowl away from them. You control feeding time, which for a dog that eats quick, is probably one of the most important times of the whole day to them.
Okay, Sparky, my final question for you today.
Are we already out of time?
Almost. A couple minutes left.
That was fast.
So, what is the importance of having your puppy or dog walk beside you versus pulling ahead? Because we often see dogs pulling ahead of their owners on the walks. And so why is it important that they walk beside you?
I like it. This is a hard question to ask because I know a lot of people like their dog to be free and kind of be able to sniff all the plants and the flowers and say hi to other dogs. However, guys, a dog that's pulling ahead of you, you have become the dog. You have become the follower. So when we're ahead of a dog, they're a step behind us. We become that leader. So I control what they pick up on the ground. If anything, I control what smells they go to. I control what dogs they go say hi to. Some dogs aren't friendly, meaning that when you allow your dog to go up and just naturally say hi to them, they may not react to this in the same way as your friendly dog. So biggest thing, point A to point B, is anytime a dog leads, they're in charge of the walk. When they follow, you're in charge of the walk. It translates to many areas of a dog's life. Them nipping you in the house, them trying to control inside the house. You control the walk, you control a lot of different aspects. But again, how do we do that? It was in the beginning, we're gonna mention it and just tie it up in the end. Anytime a dog tries to lead, we don't follow. They go ahead, we stop, we wait for them to turn and acknowledge you, and then we turn and move in the opposite direction. They try to lead, we turn them into follow. What do you think? Follow up?
Do you use food?
I do use food for some dogs. For a younger dog, when I'm teaching them how to follow, I'll use a little bit of food. But if I have an older dog, I'll use a training tool. A couple different training tools. Go on Google, check them out. You can see a lot of YouTube videos. You can go hire a private trainer and kind of see what training tools they find to be the best ones.
Is it ever okay to let your dog kind of pull ahead to sniff around, like more leisurely?
Oh, you want me to get, I know where you're leading it to. Okay, so people who want their dogs to sniff, I don't want a dog walking and pulling me to sniff. However, anytime I get to a certain place, I may know that this is a great pee spot for my dog. I'll walk up to it, I'll ask them for a sit, I'll shorten up my leash and wait them out until they do eventually sit, and after a couple seconds of getting that sit, I'll release them into the area that I want them to go sniff and potty at. However, when I do that, I stand there like a tree. I don't move, I don't follow them around a 20-foot diameter. I literally walk to the area that I'm giving them. I stand there like a tree, I give them the length of the leash, and all I'll do is spin, but not follow around the space. I want them to know that this is their area that they can sniff, and they don't need to sniff 30 different feet. Me and my girlfriend, sometimes we debate. She goes, yes, but in the morning, I want her to be able to sniff a larger area that's kind of like her little mini walk. I say, yes, but it takes you 5 minutes to get a potty. I can get it in 2 minutes of just standing there in one area. I still turn to kind of give her a diameter to sniffing, but eventually she'll go potty a lot quicker than if I let her sniff 20 to 30 feet back and forth, back and forth. And I've noticed too is when she stops and she just waits, her dog will go potty much, much quicker. So it's all about controlling that area and controlling what they can smell. Too much space, too many smells, they track it down and it distracts them from needing to go potty. Whether it's a young puppy in your backyard or front yard, or it's an older dog and you're on a long walk and you're giving them opportunities to go potty. All right, we out of time? Woo! Wow, that 30 minutes went by quick. Oh, I made it. I get to brag to Bethany now. Okay, all right guys, thank you so much for joining us. Again, we'll do another show next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific. Pacific time, beautiful. And yeah,
happy joining us.
Yep, submit your questions. TikTok, Instagram, DM, PM, whatever we use. And then again, just throw them in the comments. We'd love to answer them, guys. Thanks for joining us.